The night my cat died, I dreamed of my dog. It was a fitful sleep. I tossed and turned, kept waking up, changing positions, closing my eyes, and trying again. At some point, I found myself back in the old apartment, the apartment where, up until our divorce 2 years ago, my wife and I had lived together with our cat, Audie. I drove back to that apartment after she called to tell me Audie wasn't doing well and that she was taking her to the emergency animal hospital and to ask if I wanted to come along. It had been a while since I'd seen Audie. She'd lost weight. She was small again, like she'd been when she'd come walking up to us as we sat out on the stoop one evening in December, the night we adopted each other. We drove to the animal hospital, and right away the doctors there said it wouldn't be long. It might have been cancer. It might have been her liver. Either way, there was nothing they could do. Consents were given. Papers were signed. They brought Audie in so we could say goodbye. And we said goodbye. We arrived with a cat, and we left without one. That's the sort of day that was. Audie didn't return to me in the dream I had that night during one of my fleeting intervals of sleep. I was sitting on the couch in the apartment, where I'd sat with Audie more times than I can remember, and I saw my dog standing there in front of me. Her name was Star, and she was such a good dog. She was a black lab, beautiful, the sweetest dog you'd ever want to meet. She loved everybody. I named her Star because she had a little patch of white, no bigger than a nickel, on her chest. When she died in 2001, she was 16, the same age we think Audie was. And there she was looking up at me from the living room floor at the apartment where she'd never been. I kissed at her and patted the cushion beside me like I always used to do, for her and for Audie. And Star jumped up on the couch, and she climbed into my lap and nestled into the crook of my arm, and I put my arms around her, and I hugged her tight, and I told her about Audie. I told her about her sister, who she never got to meet. I told her that Audie was black and white too, only Audie had white all down her chest and belly and on her paws. I told her about how sweet Audie was and how much she liked to jump and climb up onto high places, including my head, and how she'd spend hours sitting in the window watching things on the street outside, and how she liked to nap on the clothes dryer when it was running, and how she'd gently paw at my face to wake me up in the morning when it was time for breakfast. And then I said, now that you know about her, you don't need to be afraid to go up and say hi if you see her once you get back to wherever you came from to be here. And if you do see her, make sure she knows that her mama and her papa love her very much and miss her and think about her all the time, and tell her she can come and visit anytime she wants. And I said to Star, don't you be a stranger either. Don't ever forget how much I love you and how much I miss you and always will. And I thanked her for coming to see me, and I told her one more time, if you see Audie, you make sure to tell her what I said, okay? And I knew she would, because like I said, she was a good dog. And Audie was a good cat. I reckon they'll get along fine.